Okay, so this is War Tortoise. Best way to describe this game is basically we're calling it an idle shooter. So basically what that means is it's very dependent on the upgrade loop and starting over to get stronger, like you might see in like Tap Titans or other clicker RPG games. So obviously the big difference is that you don't tap, you shoot. But so it's an interesting mix between a casual and shooter. So got tons of upgrades. You can upgrade your War Tortoise, which is basically like a heavy tank, mortar, secondary gun carriage. So basically these are all like automated turrets and stuff like that. You can also recruit units to fight beside you. As soon as I get out of the screen, you'll see them. And some other interesting things that you might not see in a typical clicker is you can actually manage your economy a little bit.
Cool.
So yeah, like as you upgrade your mind, there'll be things that pop up that you tap. And again, just like a clicker, you'll get to a point that it basically becomes too hard to progress. So we also have a prestige mechanic, which basically restarts the entire game, and you get huge bonuses. So when you restart, basically you can get to where you were extra fast, and then you can progress further.
Oh, cool.
And you also start with more money. So basically, the more you prestige, the more of the game you kind of unlock, the more higher level units you can see sooner. And the idle part kind of comes from, so obviously after you prestige enough times, you don't want to play through the same beginning level, so you can just activate auto battle, kind of sit back and collect the mine orbs that pop up, which give you extra economy, just like that. Again, as you prestige and build up your force, you'll progress through the early stages faster and faster. So, you'll zoom through. So, So I mean, another emphasis. Oh yeah. So you can also switch between different weapons. So as you're auto battling, that'll only be good up to a certain point, and then basically once you get back to the point that you were before previously, it's basically like you're gonna have to start paying attention again. So obviously this is pretty idle right now because I've prestiged a bunch, and it's basically like I can one-shot everything early on. There's howitzer, more powerful weapons that you have to manage their cooldowns. So kind of a lot of the game is, again, as you progress, it's about battlefield awareness. Like there are ranged enemies. Scale is also a big thing, like all these little punes. You're supposed to be like a heavy tank, so these enemies are basically like, they're all tiny because they're starting level units. Later on you'll fight, wild boars, raccoons, they're all animal based. So let me get some, there's all sorts of different units, Zeppelin, Turtle, a variety of different units. And basically, we've spent a lot of time on the graphics. We wanted it to feel like you were building up to something that looked really cool. So once you do that, it ends up being like, a really hectic battlefield. You can upgrade individual weapons on different units, which changes their effects, like plasma, minigun. And again, you're building up to this huge force that just, when you do activate auto battle, you can sit back and hopefully enjoy some, really cool graphics. Another thing is the perk system, which is pretty cool, I think. So basically, when you generate perks, you earn currency naturally through the game. When you generate perks, you have a choice of 3, so you can kind of choose how you specialize your army.
Do these reset every time you prestige, or?
So you keep the perks. The perks are permanent. And they're random every time, 1 through 10 levels. And the interesting part is that, which makes this a lot less linear than like a typical clicker. Like there's I like to call it like soft strategy, you know, with the economy and stuff like that. But also, as you, and I mean the perks, you can after you've prestiged a bunch and gotten a bunch of perks, you can have unlimited perks. So the interesting part is the damage that you get from the perks, or I should say the upgrades that you get from perks, they're not all damage, but it also changes like the value of the upgrade. So for example, if you specialize in a low tier unit, suddenly your damage becomes more valuable for cost. So whereas in like a typical idle game where it's very linear progression, it's a little bit more dynamic. And again, I mean, it's trying to balance. It's still an idle game at heart, with just kind of like a couple tiers up of strategy and action. So
when's this coming out?
We initially weren't planning on doing a beta. I think we actually may do a beta, so keep your eyes on the TouchArcade forums for that. But I think we're shooting now for 4 to 6 weeks, probably. Yeah, I think that sounds about accurate. Is when it would hit the App Store.
Awesome. Well, thanks for showing us. This is really cool.
Yep.